Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking all about foods for PCOS, so some of my favorite foods for PCOS. So I know there are a lot of questions around what's the best diet for PCOS. Is it keto? Is it paleo? Is it vegan? Is it low sugar? Is it high carb, low carb? And this can definitely drive you crazy. With PCOS, there is an increased risk of disordered eating, anxiety, depression, things like that. So we really need to be careful with not going overboard towards the orthorexia or the obsession around our food. I definitely fell into this trap. So we definitely want to be mindful of that. My diet is going to look different from your diet. Every person is going to be different, but there are some things that can be very beneficial in terms of managing PCOS. So certain foods that might be better to avoid, certain foods that are usually better to include, but this can definitely look different for each person. So just be mindful and look into these foods if you're interested and play around with them, experiment, see if you feel good with them. And if you don't, then drop it and move on to the next. But really it's about whole food based. You want to look for one ingredient. Is it a potato, spinach, avocado, broccoli, whatever it is. It should be whole food based and really getting away from that processed food. So some of my favorite foods with PCOS include buckwheat. So buckwheat is going to be actually containing the compound D-chiroinositol. So inositol is actually taken in supplement form for many PCOS women. It's one of the most common supplements that's prescribed for PCOS women because it helps to regulate insulin and also help with ovulation. So buckwheat does have inositol. It can help to reduce testosterone and help with ovulation, as I mentioned. The antioxidant that's found also in buckwheat is gluten, and this can also help with reducing the risk of cancer, reducing inflammation and blood pressure, as well as your blood lipid profile, which usually is going to be elevated in PCOS women. Eggs, they're a rich source of choline. Choline is actually not really talked about a lot, but deficiency has been associated with increased risk of fatty liver disease, which is very common in PCOS women and obviously very problematic. And it's argued to be more important than folate during pregnancy, really important for brain development, brain health, and all of that. So eggs are a great source of choline, also other nutrients like vitamin A and easily assimilable amino acids that are complete. So you're getting all those essential amino acids. Avocado, who doesn't love a good avocado as long as it's just ripe, of course. This is going to be actually a food that's rich in fiber, so really helpful for removing those toxins, staying regular, getting rid of excess estrogen, helping reduce inflammation. You have those good monounsaturated fats, and it's going to also help stabilize that blood sugar because it is rich in fiber and in healthy fats. Berries, so they're low glycemic, anti-inflammatory, going to be high in fiber, high in flavonoids. These are going to be anti-inflammatory and have antioxidant benefits. So they're really, really high in antioxidants. If you are looking for, high antioxidant foods, you want to look for the brightly colored fruits and vegetables. That means they're going to have a high antioxidant status. And this is going to be really, really helpful to protect your cells from damage, specifically going through detoxification process. Women with PCOS have been shown to be having higher levels of toxins in the blood. So toxins do play a big role in the development of PCOS and the pathogenesis. So we really want to be mindful of, eliminating them and keeping our liver happy, but also protecting our cells when we are going through detox, because it is a pretty complicated process, but it also can create more damage if we aren't protecting ourselves with antioxidants, if we aren't getting rid of the toxins at a quick enough pace. So berries are a great food to include. Raw cacao, who doesn't love chocolate? So this is obviously going to be good quality dark chocolate, 70% or higher, none of the candy bars. Researchers actually have shown that certain gut bacteria can actually break down and ferment compounds found in dark chocolate and make these short chain fatty acids, which can be very, very helpful for healing the gut lining, but also have these anti-inflammatory benefits. So raw cacao actually has been shown to contain 4 times more antioxidants than regular dark chocolate. This can help reduce inflammation, also reduce symptoms like PMS, and increase your mood by raising serotonin as well, and has these stress relieving compounds. So again, just be mindful of the quality. Don't go overboard with it either, making sure you're buying dark chocolate 70% or higher, and also looking into brands who are doing testing, because heavy metals are actually pretty common in chocolate. So just finding certain brands and asking them, do you have testing And if they don't, then that's usually not a great sign. You want to look for companies that do test. Cruciferous vegetables rich in I3C, DIM, calcium D-glucarate, really important for detoxifying that excess estrogen, which we see a lot, specifically if we're not ovulating. Then we're usually going to see low progesterone because we need ovulation to make progesterone, and higher estrogen because we're not metabolizing properly. We're getting it from outside sources, and we are going to be making estrogen but not progesterone. So really, really important for hormonal balance, and they're going to be rich in fiber and antioxidants, just a really rich source of nutrients. So I love them roasted, really yummy, like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and those are really great as a side dish with your protein as well. Ceylon cinnamon, so specifically Ceylon cinnamon, cassia has been shown to found a compound called coumarin, which can be problematic and toxic, so definitely want to recommend Ceylon. This actually has blood sugar balancing effects. It actually has a sweet sort of flavor to it, so it's nice to add to like baking or your yogurt or your oatmeal or whatever to get more of a sweet taste and also get those benefits to stabilize your blood sugar. So it actually also contains compounds that makes fat cells more responsive to insulin, and it can also help increase ovulation rates. You can also take cinnamon in supplement form, but of course I always recommend starting out with food first. Wild salmon, rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, of course, super essential. We need to be getting this in our diet, otherwise we need to supplement. Really important for brain health, reducing inflammation, stabilizing that blood sugar, and also helpful for regulating insulin as well, and really beneficial effects on cardiovascular health. There is an increased risk for cardiovascular disease with PCOS, so we definitely want to reduce our risk. So wild salmon, again, none of the farm stuff. We want to look for the good quality meat products, and for fish, it really needs to be wild. Coconut, so coconut is made up of medium chain fatty acids, and these can actually help us to lose weight, lower cholesterol, improve diabetic conditions, and reduce the risk of heart disease. And so it's interesting because these fats actually don't require the same digestive process as other fats, so they can be actually burned and used as energy right away. So this means instant energy, and it can also increase the metabolic rate in the body. So they are great fats to cook with, or, you know, coconut yogurt's great, shredded coconut. Those are all great sources of healthy fats. And it's also going to be really helpful for any issues with digestion, because it's also going to be helpful for killing off pathogens, and it's digested much more easily than other fats. Ground flaxseed, so if you want to be getting the omega-3 fats in the flax seeds, then you need to be grinding them. You can buy them already ground or grind them yourself. I usually recommend grinding yourself when you're using them just to reduce rancidity. Otherwise, please store in the fridge. They're a great source of fiber and omega-3 fats. If you get the ground flax, if you get the whole flax, you're not getting those beneficial fats in it. It also supports detoxification, obviously high in fiber, really helpful for hormonal balance, and has been shown to help increase sex hormone binding globulin. So that could also decrease high androgens. So these male sex hormones in PCOS women that can contribute to acne, hirsutism, and hair loss. And apple cider vinegar. So vinegar actually has numerous health benefits. Apple cider vinegar is, you want to go for the raw and pasteurized to be getting the mother and the beneficial probiotics and compounds for gut health. But it actually has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity during a high carb meal by 19 to 34%, and significantly lower blood sugar level and help with the insulin response. It's even been shown to reduce blood sugar by 34% after eating white bread. So 50 grams of white bread, it's been shown to help reduce that blood sugar, because white bread definitely spikes blood sugar. And before bedtime, it actually has been shown to reduce blood sugar, fasting blood sugar in the morning by 4%, which is quite interesting. So it can help with the insulin regulation, with lowering your blood sugars, and helping with the post-glycemic meal response. So if you are eating something that's higher glycemic, vinegar can actually help lower that glycemic response, which is pretty interesting. I really like using apple cider vinegar before meals in some water if I need some digestive support. It helps with that stomach acid production, helps reduce cravings, and also it helps with that glycemic response. Green tea has been shown to reduce fasting glucose, improve lipid parameters and help with that glucose uptake into the cell, so improving insulin resistance. It's also been shown to outperform metformin in improving metabolic markers. This usually it's going to be higher levels though, not just like 1 cup a day. So there is supplementation if you want to get more therapeutic effects. But green tea is also a great alternative to coffee, less caffeine, and you're getting all of those antioxidants and benefits for potentially lowering androgens like testosterone and helping with insulin regulation. So those are some of my favorite foods, not the whole list, of course. There are some foods I recommend avoiding. Obviously, the processed foods, refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, alcohol, really want to limit that as much as possible. Dairy is a commonly avoided one for PCOS women for multiple factors. It can create inflammation in the intestines due to different proteins like casein, and it can also obviously cause digestive upset and more inflammation. It actually also can spike insulin due to insulin growth factor that's found in dairy. So obviously not great for PCOS because we do want to control that insulin secretion. And we're also getting these exogenous hormones that we also have to process. So all in all, not a great food for hormonal balance. I usually recommend women avoid it. They usually feel a lot better. They see improvements in their overall health, but also things like PMS and their hirsutism or high androgen markers, their digestion, they're feeling more energized, lighter. So something to experiment with. I usually recommend, take it away for a month, see how you feel. A lot of us can do better with goat or sheep's milk, so something to just take into account compared to cow's milk. Gluten is also another common one. Nowadays, most of our wheat is going to be, highly processed and sprayed with glyphosate and all these pesticides, so it's not going to be a great health food. But it also can promote intestinal permeability or intestinal inflammation. So obviously this is going to exacerbate the low-grade inflammation sort of scenario that's going on in PCOS. We don't want to increase that even more. So I usually see people, have some issues with gluten. It's not always really obvious because you can just be sensitive to it and not have celiac or intolerance. So again, I recommend, taking it away for a few weeks, month or two, see how you feel. And then if you want to introduce it again, you can do that and see how you feel. But when you are going towards a more naturally gluten-free diet, we're looking at the foods like quinoa, millet, brown rice, yam, sweet potato, and we're getting away from those processed foods. So it's pretty easy when you're doing a whole food-based diet to avoid these sort of foods because it's not in a package. You don't have to read the label. You're just taking whole foods. So I really do recommend, avoiding some of these foods if you've never done so and see how do you feel without them, and really going towards a more plant-based whole food diet with lots and lots of vegetables. And then obviously towards your preferences, wild fish, organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised meats, all of that, eggs. These can be really great additions as well, but quality and quantity do really matter. And it's really important that we do become more in tune with what we're eating, how we're feeling. And so that's going to be really important to pay attention to, how do I feel after this meal? How do I feel after this food? And just starting to pay more attention to that. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you're going to start incorporating more of these foods today. And thank you for tuning in.